Welcome, everybody, to the second half of chapter 9 of this wonderful book called Living Lessons from Tanya. And let me just give you a little review of the first half of chapter 9. Up until chapter 9, the first 8 chapters was describing what is swimming in us. And we discussed that we have two souls. One is a godly soul, very central thinking only about God and spirituality and holiness. And the other one is called the animal soul, a soul that is always thinking about my physical pleasures, my physical joys, distracting me from doing anything that is holy. Each one of them was created by God. They're put inside us, and that's why we have the two voices in us. We also learned about the many different energies that each one has, etc. Chapter 9 started talking about the playing field. Where exactly is the war between the godly soul and the animal soul? Obviously, it's inside us, but what is the playing field? So first it says is that it's like two kings looking to conquer a city. One's from one side, one's from the other side. This one wants to be the ruler. This one wants to be the ruler. But two rulers cannot rule at the same time. So each one is trying to influence the people of the city. Choose me, choose me, choose me. Almost like an election. We, meaning you and I, have the power of free choice. Nothing is in the hands of, everything is not in the hands of God except for our free choice. So God implanted in us a godly soul. Do Judaism, go to synagogue, pray, put on tefillin, keep kosher. The animal soul goes and says like this, hey, there's an Xbox. Hey, there's the Instagram. Let's do it for the next 2 hours. So it distracts you from focusing on, maybe I could be learning Torah. Even during this class, while you're watching, the animal soul is going to do the following things. First of all, it's going to say, whoa, you learning Torah? Are you kidding me? You're not giving me the attention. So you know what it does? It all of a sudden puts you got a job to do. You have a phone call to do. And all of a sudden, while I'm talking, you're thinking about the phone call you have to make. Or being that you're on Zoom, you're going to say, nobody sees me. I can go onto the other phone and make the phone call right now and come back in 10 minutes. Gotcha. The animal soul took you away from the city of holiness where the godly soul was controlling you and literally said, gotcha. You could be going to synagogue and praying, and all of a sudden you're thinking about, tomorrow I have to go shopping for this or shopping for that. The animal soul is always going to be trying to control your thoughts, what you see, what you speak, and whatever actions you do. The godly soul is trying to get that you should always have good thoughts, only looking at good things, eating the right things, good words coming out of your mouth, and your actions are holy, etc. Even playing baseball, my dear friends. This is something the animal wants. Now, there's nothing wrong. It's a permissibility. God allows you to play baseball. I have to go do exercise. Yes. So we discussed in the past that when a person goes and, let's say, exercises, if they're always exercising, then they go, look at that. I got a cut over here. Look at that. I got to start doing like this and like this and like this, and I got to carve. Okay, dude, you're getting too involved. It's taking you away from hours that you could be spending with your children, hours that you could be studying Torah. But no, I need my 2 hours every day. I go like this, like this, like this, like this. Why? Because the animal soul says, gotcha, I'm ruling the city. So you have the choice constantly, who are you listening to? That is your choice. And it's hard to make those choices. I know, we'll get to that later. How to make the right choice is going to come up in a couple of chapters. But right now we have to define the difficulty that goes on. So where is the headquarters for the godly soul? Where does it hang out? In the head. It's always the thinking. Where does it want to be? It wants to not only be up here, but it wants to go into your headquarters, the heart. The heart is all about passion. It's all about feelings. It's all about wants. It's all about desires. The godly soul is going to try to harness the animal and say, could you at least have godly desires? And that is where it would like to be. How to get the godly soul into the heart, we'll get to that also. In the meantime, my dear friends, today is going to be an aha class like none before. You're going to be blown away. I'm telling you. The examples that are going to be used by the Alter Rebbe to explain this war, they're going to blow your mind, and it's going to open your mind to a whole new way of looking at what evil or not good really is. Let's go in to page 68 in our beautiful book. So the Alter Rebbe writes on top of page 68 that the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul, comes from the side of klipa, comes from the side out, like the outside where there's not too much light. The light is in the center, like a peanut. That is the core. The animal soul is like the red shell. It's trying to cover the light. Desires everything the opposite of the godly soul. But the Alter Rebbe says something unreal. The animal soul is for your benefit. It's for you. The animal soul is really good. What? You're telling me that every single time that I am learning Torah, or I am on the beach and I'm lying there and I'm looking at it and I'm taking pictures, I may not be so modest. You're telling me the animal soul is really good for me? Okay, Rabbi, I know you said there's going to be an aha moment, but Rabbi, seriously? How could the animal soul be something good for me? And the answer is, it's a loyal traitor to God. That's right. Who made the animal soul? God. What was the job of the animal soul? To drive you crazy. Why? Let's look in. There's many examples that are given for this. The Alter Rebbe writes in Tanya a phenomenal example, which is not so much brought out over here, because this was written for children. But I like the example that he gave, as it's brought down in the Zohar to explain the war between the animal and the godly soul. It says that the king had a beautiful prince, that he knew that this prince one day was going to take over his kingdom. Now, this son was learning. He was learning all the ropes. He understood the royalty. He understood all the good stuff that it takes to be a king. But the king wanted to test his child. Is my child a person that will grow up and fall to his desires? Or will my child always do the right thing? So he set up a big room. And he put in the room 2 beds, one on this side of the room and one on this side of the room. Trapped in this room will be his son, and on the other side will be a lady of the evening, a whore, whatever you want to call it, a zoina. On both sides of the room will be food. Each one of them can walk around the room, and this is going to be for 30 days. The king goes and says to the prince, I'm putting you in a room where there's a lot of temptation. There'll be wine there. There'll be a lot of things to get your mind off thinking straight. You're going to have a lot of temptation. I want to see how you will come through this test. For 30 days, you're trapped. Then the king goes over to this whore and says, excuse me, I know I chose you because you are the best of the best of the best. There's not a person in the world that you cannot convince to fall to your guiles and tricks and everything. I want you to go over to my son, I want you to use all your tricks, your perfume, your this, and your that. I want you to do everything you can. You can't touch him. But I want you to tempt. If you do a good job, thank you. If you don't do your job, I will just destroy you. I don't need you. So I'm putting you in here now. The lady of the evening says, Your Majesty, this is a crazy test. But if my whole existence is about this, I will do it, and I will do a good job. The king says, you better do a good job. If I see that you're slacking off and you're not laser focused in trying to convince my son, it won't be good for you. So now these two are trapped in a room. The son realizes what's going on here. He sees there's wine. If he starts drinking wine, he'll get forgetfulness. He has enough food. He has enough books. He's trying to focus on his books. On the other hand, the lady walks over to him and says, come, let's have a conversation. He says, no, I know what you're trying to do. He says, no, I just want to have a conversation. Please tell me what it's like to be a prince. A simple conversation. Come, let's go in the middle of the room. 2 chairs, a table. Let's sit and talk. So the two of them are sitting and talking. The kid says, what's so wrong? But as the conversation goes, all of a sudden, she starts doing more and more and more. At the end of the 30 days, I'm asking you, what is it about the end of the 30 days that you want to see? Do you want to see that the prince succumbed? Or do you want to go and see that the lady of the evening failed? What do you want to see at the end? The reality is, the boy's going to try to make his father happy. But the other hand, his body is going to be saying to him, I want. The lady of the evening goes and says, I want to win. I want to show the king I could do what I could do. But inside the lady, she says, if the king dies today, that kid is going to become the king. And I need him not to go and fail just because he has desires. I need him to always make the right choice to keep our country well. You see, the lady is really thinking in the back of her head, don't listen to me, I'm begging you. This is the story of you and I. You and I both have a godly neshama, a godly soul, and we have an animal soul. The godly soul is trying to say, do this, do that. The animal soul is saying, listen to the body, come after the pleasures. And we're always falling into the whims of the animal soul. Comes the animal soul and screaming to you and me, don't listen. I know why I was created. I was created to go and drive you crazy. But you're a Jew. You're a human being. What are you listening to me for? And the more you don't listen to me, the greater human being you're going to become. The more holier the Jew you will become. So why are you listening to me? I beg you. I got to do my job. But what are you listening to me for? Differently than all other religions that say that there's a power that's trying to make you sin and it's totally evil. No, says Judaism. The reality is the animal soul is doing its job exactly the way God created it. And it's not going to stop. But down deep, I don't want you to listen to me. Wow. Now you have a whole new perspective. So comes a bigger question. Why did you listen to me? That's the question. Ma. What am I singing for? Because it's happy to know. It feels good to know that down deep inside, no matter how much garbage is swimming in me, it's not real. I don't have to listen to it. It's only trying to drag me down. It's doing its job. Oh, it does a good job. But I'm the captain of the ship. I choose which soul to listen to. I have that power. I am not weak. Rabbi, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you know how tough it is? I know I'm supposed to focus on Judaism, but my sister has this, my mother has that, and they're always taking me here, there, or my father wants me to do that. Everybody has things dragging you away from your focus. But God didn't give you a test that you can't handle. Even a king, when it goes to war, when it realizes I got to do everything for victory. So at first, the soldiers go out with its armaments. But as the war gets tough, what does the king do? It opens up his treasures. He opens up his oitzers, his deep treasures. And he says, take from my treasures and go defeat the enemy. So do you. God is saying, I gave you a godly soul. You have oitzers. You have deep treasures of strength. You can overcome everything. You could do the right thing. But you choose how you want your life to be. I'm begging you, says God. As it said in last week's Torah, in the last week's Torah portion, it says, I'm begging you. Go down the proper path. Choose life. Choose blessing. But sometimes it's easier because, McDonald's makes a good French fry. In-N-Out Burger is a good burger. When I'm on Hawaii to go to a luau, I'm only ordering an apple, Rabbi, but unfortunately they put a big pig to flavor the apple. What can I do? The animal soul is good. I get it. But you choose where to be. You choose what actions to do. The godly soul says, I want to be your thoughts. I want to be where your eyes see. I want to be the city of your mouth. I want to be the city of your actions. The animal soul is saying, boy, oh boy, I already got you. Your job is to knock out the animal soul. So why is this good for me? I'll tell you why it's good for me. Because without the animal soul, I would never have to dig deep and become a better person. We only change when there's more pressure on us. The more that is dumped into our life, the more that is dumped into our choices, the deeper I have to dig in and realize. I didn't realize I had this. For example, could you imagine living during the times of the Spanish Inquisition? Or what about now, October 7th? Everywhere you go in the street, every time you go in the streets, what do? They scream at you. They try to embarrass you as a Jew. Did you notice how many Jews around the world that were never so Jewish identifying or religiously? So to identify, Jews are now openly wearing Stars of David. In other words, they're choosing not to look that you can't tell I'm Jewish. They dug deep because of the animal out there forced me to choose. So all of the negativity of the animal soul is there so that you can strive and become a better Jew than you ever were before. See, if you didn't have negativity, if you didn't have challenges, how would you grow? I know. Rabbi, it's all coming together. Ooh, it's not coming together yet. You know why? Because I need tools, Rabbi. When it's so difficult, how do I choose the right thing? Do you realize it's a lifetime of choosing? The battle is every day. I go out to work. Someone's always flirting with me. There's somebody always saying, let's go to an unkosher restaurant. There's so many things you want me to... Rabbi, it's tough being Jewish and choosing always to do the right thing. You're right. So if you looked at the big picture, it's impossible. So how am I ever going to be able to change? We'll get to that later. But in the meantime, we must understand that the negativity of your animal soul is screaming to you. Yankel, Yankel, why are you listening to me? I'm doing my job. But you have a godly soul that you should be listening to. I'm telling you, this is beautiful stuff. A young boy once came to the Rebbe for his bar mitzvah. And an American boy. He said, the Rebbe said, what is your passion? What is it? He says, I love sports. He says, from the sports, what do you like? Baseball. When he came to baseball, the Rebbe asked, what is it that you like about baseball? He says, listen, I like my team and, I'm a fan. So the Rebbe asked, what's the difference between a fan and a player? So the young boy says, a fan is in the stands. The player is the real deal. He says, what happens when the team is losing by a lot? So the kid said, the fan usually goes home. He says, what about the player? He says, no, he has to stay on the field. The Rebbe says, up until your bar and bat mitzvah, you're only a fan. Now you're on the playing field. When you're winning, it feels good. But when there are challenges, you still have to be on the field and make the right choice. That, my dear friends, is the battlefield. But here comes the question. Is it enough that the boy didn't listen to the girl? Did he win? And the answer is no. Then what else? What really should have been was, and this is what God wants, I'm happy you didn't listen and you chose me. You chose right. But how come you didn't work with the animal? Why didn't you convince the girl that she's really beautiful? We get it. But now that you're beautiful and everything, why don't you dress so beautifully modest? Go and start making an Instagram. Show everybody how wonderful modesty could be. Believe it or not, some of the biggest influencers today are starting to realize I don't have to show everything. I can be modest. Why do you always have to work in that night in the street? I can convince you and transform you with all of your energy to become a Jewish mother. And that's the true job. It's not enough not to listen to the animal, but transform the jealousy that you have, the lust and all of that evil to holiness. What? To holiness? Yes. That the lust, you should be lusting for doing a mitzvah. Jealousy, how come they fed the homeless and I don't even think about it? Transform your jealousy to make it a holy jealousy. They're learning Torah. They're able to go to services. Why can't I? Rabbi, how am I supposed to transform? Whoa. Okay, my friends, I just gave you a taste of what's coming up. But until now, all you got to know is the playing field. Now you know there is a very tough animal soul inside you that wants you to go and listen to it. There's even more powerful godly soul that has so much more power than the animal soul. But it's so much easier to listen to the animal. Your job in the playing field is to choose, I don't have to listen to you. To know more about how to transform the animal, that will be in the upcoming weeks. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for listening to the rest of Chapter 9 in the book, Lessons in Life for Tanya.